Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Vanessa. If you are new here, if you are not, then hi again. Thank you for clicking on this video. As you can tell by the title, I just want to touch on the topic of loneliness because loneliness is definitely something I think that a lot of people go through, of course, just depending on, your situation and your life and whatnot, and also just the type of person that you are. Loneliness is something that I feel like I barely have started to conquer this year throughout my pregnancy, and it is also something that I've just kind of like, I feel like just I understand it now. And when you understand something, obviously it's easier to have more power over it. But yeah, so let's just jump right into it. I wrote down kind of how I wanted to go about it because I feel like when I talk about certain things, I just feel like I don't know how to stay like on track or like where exactly I'm going with it, just because my mind runs like a million miles per hour. But so first I want to start off with like what it's like to feel lonely. For me personally, I struggled with just, with me being lonely was anytime I felt like I didn't have people around me, and it honestly just didn't matter what kind of people those were. Like, as long as I was just having people around me, that's what made me feel secure. And anytime I felt like I was like home alone for too long, or just alone in general, doing things alone or whatever, it would get to me a lot. And it definitely comes from feeling alone within yourself, that feeling of loneliness comes from within. And it doesn't really, something that I've noticed is that it doesn't really matter if you even have people around or if you don't. If you have that feeling of loneliness inside of you with yourself and with your relationship with self, then you are always going to feel lonely. In relationships, in friendships, you are always going to feel lonely because that is something that only you can fix within yourself. And I think that that's where dealing with loneliness gets a little tricky, because a lot of people tend to think that loneliness comes from not having someone, or like someone's not fulfilling that need. And so you go through so many friendships and relationships, and you're looking for that void to be filled with your loneliness, when realistically only you can fill that void, which is kind of ironic because with loneliness, I mean, like I said, like the bigger pictures, you would think like it's because you don't have anyone, and it's really not that. It is you lacking self-love and you lacking that respect for yourself and that relationship with yourself. And so in order to fix that, you have to really dig deep into why you feel lonely and where maybe it even stemmed from. And like I said, for me, I don't have my parents in my life. I don't have like a lot of family I'm super close to, especially now. And even when I had more people in my life, like let's say even last year, I had probably more friends, more family members I was talking to, I still felt very alone. Versus now, I hardly talk to anyone. I have my very small, intimate group of people and family members that I love and spend my time with, and I feel like I've never really felt like happier. And also, I'm pregnant, so I never really feel alone because I just feel like I always have my baby with me. And yeah, so it's kind of crazy. Like I said, you can have a group of people around you and still feel alone if you're not fixing that within yourself. But if you're around a smaller group of people and you have that fixed within yourself, you don't feel alone. You feel like you have all that you need within yourself and also with the people that are around you. And also, I think that like loneliness has a very negative narrative about it. And it's almost like, you know, like in school, like when you were little, there was always those kids that didn't have friends or were that lonely. I've been that kid once or twice in my life. And a lot of people will be like, oh, that kid is weird, or, you know, like make fun of someone for not having any friends, for being alone. So definitely the world looks at loneliness like it is a bad thing. We've been conditioned to believe that we need other people to be there. And of course, like, relationships with other human beings are a part of our experience, and it is a beautiful thing, but it is not needed. It is not like you cannot go on in life without a bunch of friends, without a boyfriend, without talking to family members. You know, if the relationships aren't serving you, then they should not be in your life. And so I brought up basically like how being lonely is looked at very negatively, because something I've noticed with myself is that every time I get into an argument with someone, or just like a disagreement, or someone is purposely trying to hurt my feelings, they use that against me. Like, I swear it's been from family members, boyfriends, and you know, they'll literally be like, oh, that's why you don't have anyone, that's why you're so lonely, that's why you're by yourself. And before I really healed myself, I used that used to like hurt me. Like, that definitely was something that people would say to me that would really get to me, because in my head I also believed that being alone was a bad thing, and I also believed that it was like my fault or something, you know? Like, I hated feeling like alone, and I struggled with it a lot. And now I've made my peace with it. So I actually had someone that tried to make that comment to me not too long ago, and it just didn't hurt me anymore, because I've come to a place where, like, I don't really struggle so much with feeling lonely. Obviously I'm human and I have my moments, but it just isn't a huge thing the way that it used to be for me. But being lonely is okay, and I've learned that it is okay, because for me personally, when I'm lonely, I get more things done. You're just in your own energy. So you will be more open to like creativity, also just learning yourself and things that really genuinely make you happy, versus when you are always around other people. You don't really know yourself because you're always around other people. And if you don't really know yourself, then how can you grow as a person, you know? And a lot of times loneliness, you know, that feeling of loneliness will lead you into relationships that are really bad and just not for you. Cause let's say, like, you know, like you struggle with feeling alone, and someone comes along and is slightly filling that void by their presence. And that's really all they're feeling, is that void of like, you have a physical person there, but they don't love you. They don't cater to your emotional needs. They might even treat you like shit, but you'll keep them around for the simple fact of you don't want to be lonely. And I have literally been in that situation multiple times. And it sucks, because you basically let down your boundaries with yourself, and even what you really want from someone emotionally, because of the fact that you just don't want to be alone. And if you're not okay with being alone, you know, I've even been in situations where I developed deep feelings for like someone that I was sleeping with, and I obviously wanted more, but I knew that that person did not want more. And so, you know, you act okay with the fact of like, okay, like we're just having casual sex and we're friends and yada yada yada. And you kind of just mess yourself up more in that way, because you're hurting yourself more by doing that. And again, that all just stems from you lowering your boundaries and your self-respect and your self-love because you're trying to keep someone around. And so that even goes with friendships, family members. There's multiple family members I have that I was really close with once upon a time, and when that cycle ended, you know, that relationship ended with those family members, I would get really sad because I just felt like almost like the people, because I struggled with loneliness, I would just kind of feel like the people that I did have were just slowly like dying off, you know. Now that I've gone through everything that I've gone through and healed myself and built a relationship with myself, I kind of, and you know, this isn't like to talk shit or feel like I'm better than anyone, because we're all human and, you know, whatnot. But there's a lot of people that I was very upset with the relationships ending. And now just the journey and path that I'm on in life and the type of life that I'm trying to build for myself and my now baby, those people just do not align with that. And that's also another thing is, if people aren't meant to be in your lives, they're not meant to be in your lives, and you shouldn't lower your boundaries or try to like keep them in your life, beg for someone to stay in your life, nothing like that, because what's not for you is not going to be for you, and what is for you is going to be for you. So that is why it's really important to stand on how you feel in situations. And you know, you might feel a little lonely for a while, but I just feel like for me, it's like once you really learn to be okay with being alone, it actually is really fun. Like, you just get to do everything on your own, and then you get accustomed to like being alone, to where now I'm like, I love being alone, and I can do things by myself. Like I literally just go shopping by myself, I go out to eat by myself. And it's like fun. It's fun just because you're just so in your own energy. And then, you know, like when you're in your car, you can just listen to music without someone talking to you, or just, you know, like little things like that. And then when you have your times when you're like, oh, like I want to hang out with a friend, or I want to hang out with a cousin or whatever, like then you can do that. And it's just like a healthy balance of being alone and also having relationships. And like I said, your relationships become healthier also because you're not trying to keep people around, because you don't need anyone, because you're okay with being alone. And I just really feel like our society really demonizes like being alone, you know, like if you don't have friends, if you don't have a good relationship, or you can't keep a relationship or whatever. And social media is like a big part of it. I think that there's so many people that will even be like on social media like, oh, I roll alone and I don't need friends and I don't need a boyfriend or whatever. But then at the same time, they're like so attached to social media. And I also speak for personal experience. But you know, at the same time, like they're very attached to social media because social media gives you that feeling of also not feeling alone. Like it's one of those outlets, and you know, this going into that, like it's one of those outlets that feels like it's filling that loneliness void. And so is alcohol, so is drugs, so is maybe even eating, impulsively shopping. Like, you know, there's so many things. And I just feel like for me, I've dipped and dabbled into a little bit of everything. I struggled with like drinking for a minute. I still kind of struggle with impulsive shopping. Like these are all just things that aren't good for you, that all stem from your feeling of loneliness. And you know, it's just, it really does like impact your whole life when you don't. And it's as simple as like learning to love yourself, you know, learning to be there for yourself. And and being okay with it, like genuinely being okay with it. I went through so many things in my life, like honestly, like I just kind of feel like I always struggled with being alone since I was younger. I always struggled with feeling like people were leaving my life, and it also gave me a fear of abandonment. And now, you know, that I've gotten older and I've learned to be there for myself, like I now understand just how important the relationship with self is. And I look at so many people, and even sometimes like people will open up and talk to me like about what they go through, and it's really sad that I feel like a lot of people struggle with loneliness and don't know exactly like, and don't even realize that they're struggling with it. And again, like I said, like there's so many people that just stay in toxic relationships, or maybe want to, like they go out, like I genuinely feel like relationships, obviously, like they happen naturally when you're not looking for them, and they happen when, you know, you feel a genuine connection with someone through love. But there's so many people that get like, you know, I know that everyone watching this has probably heard one person say before, like, oh, I'm bored, I want a boyfriend, I'm bored, I want a girlfriend. And like, what? Like that is not, like, you just don't, I mean, yeah, obviously like it's okay to feel like that, but there's people that will really, like there's people that can't stay single because they don't like to be alone. And I just, even with that, like you're just dragging yourself through this cycle of always being hurt, of always having your feelings hurt and being let down, because you're just looking so much to like be loved and not feel lonely, when really like you need to fill that void yourself. So I would just say that, you know, if you are struggling with that, you just need to go within yourself and spend time with yourself. And trust me, like I feel like trying to conquer loneliness, it's almost like getting off of a drug, like, or trying to what's the word, trying to be sober if you were drinking for a long time, or just something, you know, or even like it's like going through a breakup. You're gonna go through it. Of course you're gonna go through it, because you're so used to like having people stay with you or just always be around you to fill that void. And you're gonna go through a period of time where you're like just purging, like you're literally just letting yourself go through feeling alone. But I promise you, like once you go through that, it's gonna hurt, but once you go through that, it'll make you stronger, and it'll just make you have so much more clarity on things. And that is just for me where I'm at right now in life. I definitely went through a time where I would just cry and feel like I had nobody there. And now where I'm at is I just feel so strong in my power. You know, like I just feel like when you have so many people around you, like you're just giving away your power. You really are in your own power when you spend more time in isolation. And like I said, you just have more clarity. You can do more things even for yourself and learn to be there for yourself. And you know, when you do that, you also are able to be there for people in a better way than you were able to be there before. Because if you're in this place where you're struggling with loneliness and you're almost kind of like, you know, again, like you're lowering your boundaries and self-respect just to keep people around, it's not really genuine. Like obviously, like you're just trying to do whatever to keep that person around. When you stand in your power and stand in your respect, and it's coming from a place of genuine love, you are able to have more genuine relationships and just be better to people, because you're able to give them real advice. You're able to do things genuinely looking out for that person, and they may not like it, or they, you know, may appreciate it, but you know, it definitely just makes your relationships a lot more genuine with people. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk or all I wanted to touch on with this topic. I just really felt like it was something that I wanted to talk about, because like I said, it was something that I would literally have like breakdowns like here in my apartment, like by myself, like just crying and having like anxiety attacks because I felt alone. And now, like, I love being alone. Like, I love my alone time. And even people that I was like once attached to, looking back, I was like, or I'm like, you know, like, these people that I was so attached to, they're not really like great people, or, you know, like, and now I'm so selfish with my energy. Like, I feel like when certain people try to reach out to me, I'm like, that was like when I really like needed people to be around because I didn't love myself. And now I love myself, and I don't really want your energy around me and my energy. And it's no shade or nothing like that. Again, not that I ever think I'm better than anyone, but sometimes you just have to protect your energy, because some people really have like demons on them, and some people really just need to heal and live in love more. And you know, if you're trying really hard to do that, you're trying really hard to heal, you're trying really hard to live in love, you just can't be around people like that. And so that's just where I'm at in life right now with that. And it definitely is a journey. It all just ties into your self-love journey, your healing journey. You know, going back to what I said of for me, I feel like my loneliness stemmed from my childhood, like always feeling alone and not heard. So that has obviously required me to step into my childhood traumas and deal with that. So it's all just a part of growing and learning and healing. But I really hope that this video can reach the right amount of people, that this video can help. And yeah, so if, like I said, if this is your first time watching any of my videos, go ahead and subscribe and like this video, and I will see you next time. Hopefully I have a new video. I always feel like my beauty tutorial videos kind of get a little bit more notoriety. So hopefully I'll have one of those videos coming up soon. But yes, thank you for watching. I hope everyone has a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this at. And yeah.